I'm Jonathan Lewis, Director of Transportation Decarbonization at the Clean Air Task Force. The transportation sector in the United States accounts for around 25% of greenhouse gas emissions. It's around 16% globally. And so it's a huge chunk of the total emissions that need to be eliminated for us to decarbonize by mid-century. There are several important pathways for decarbonizing transportation. One is electrification. We can eliminate emissions from a big portion of the transportation sector by switching to battery-powered vehicles and zero-carbon energy production systems. We can electrify a lot of transportation, but not all of it. And the things that we can't electrify, or the things that will be very expensive to electrify, include heavy-duty vehicles like trucks, trains, planes, and marine vessels. And those vehicles emit an enormous amount of greenhouse gas. There are lots of vehicles and transportation systems that can't run on batteries. They're too big. The batteries required to move those vehicles would be too heavy, or the distances traveled by those vehicles is too long, and therefore they need zero carbon fuels. By zero carbon fuels, we mainly mean hydrogen-based fuels, which include hydrogen and ammonia. When you burn hydrogen or ammonia in an engine, or when you convert it to electricity in a fuel cell, it emits no greenhouse gas. And so if you can produce that hydrogen or that ammonia through zero carbon systems like electrolysis that's powered by renewable or nuclear energy, or in methane reformers that are combined with carbon capture and sequestration systems, you have a zero carbon transportation system. Zero carbon fuels are really important to decarbonizing the transportation sector because they provide the benefits that the fuels that we're used to, like gasoline and diesel, without the carbon. And some of those benefits are that they're highly portable, they work in all sorts of conditions, the energy density, the amount of energy that you get either per unit of volume or per unit of mass is much higher than it is in a battery. And so you can store more energy in a smaller place, which really matters if you're in the business of moving freight. CATF was working with policymakers around the world in the United States, states like California and Texas, and in Europe, and increasingly Asia and Australia, to come up with policies that will drive zero carbon fuel-based transportation forward. For the transportation sector to decarbonize, one of the key things we need to achieve, one of the key things that policymakers need to help with, and one of the key things that the industry really needs to push towards is affordability. We're talking about transforming a global system that is enormous, both in its scale and its reach. And the only mechanism that's powerful enough to change the entire transportation system throughout the globe is the market. And so the market is only going to pursue these options if they're affordable, if they provide value to the customers. So it's really important that we pursue electrification technologies and zero carbon fuel technologies that are competitive with incumbent fuels. Over the next 25 years, the biggest challenge in the transportation sector will be to disseminate these technologies that we're currently developing around the whole world. CATF is very focused on making sure that clean transportation is available to people all around the world, to everyone around the world. My colleagues at CATF talk often about the benefits that clean energy for everyone entails. It's a huge factor in promoting global development. And clean transportation plays a similar role. Transportation is empowering. Transportation fosters economic development and connectivity, and it's an important driver of economic and social development. And we need that transportation to be clean everywhere.